My 28M girlfriend, 26F, told me I have no say because we're not married. I think I just got my wake-up call. So I'm sitting here at 2 questioning everything about my relationship, and I need some outside perspective before I do something I might regret. Background: I've been with Madison for about 2.5 years. We moved in together about 8 months ago. Well, she moved into my apartment that I've had for 3 years. I own it, pay the mortgage, utilities, everything. She contributes maybe $300 a month for groceries, which honestly doesn't even cover what she eats. Madison has this tight group of friends: Amber, Qley, and Sloan. I call them the Sparrows because they're always chirping and flocking together. They're here constantly. Like constantly. At least 4 or 5 nights a week, sometimes more. They treat my place like their personal hangout spot, leave messes, eat my food, and act like I'm the intrusion when I want to relax in my own home. Here's what happened yesterday that's got me all twisted up. Madison comes home and announces she's going on a beach trip this weekend with the Sparrows. Not asks, announces. Now, normally I'm cool with her having girl time. But here's the thing, we'd already made plans. Solid plans. We talked about checking out that new brewery downtown, maybe catching the afternoon baseball game, and I'd even made reservations at this Italian place she'd been wanting to try for weeks. I was actually looking forward to it because it felt like it had been forever since we had real one-on-one time. So when she announced this beach trip, completely disregarding our existing plans without even a sorry, but I felt something shift. I said something like, "Oh, when did you guys plan this? Would have been nice to know earlier since we talked about checking out that new brewery this weekend, and didn't I make those dinner reservations for Saturday?" She rolled her eyes. "We just decided yesterday, it's not a big deal." "I mean, it's fine," I shrugged. "I just wish I'd known sooner. I was looking forward to trying that IPA they have on tap." "Ryan, seriously. You're being clingy." "Clingy? I just said I wish I'd known earlier. We live together, it's normal to—" "That's exactly the problem," she snapped, turning to face me with this look I'd never seen before. "You think because we live together you get to have opinions about everything I do. Well, you don't get to have an opinion about what I do because we're not married. This is my life and my decision." The way she said it. There was this coldness in her voice I'd never heard before. Like I was some random guy she barely knew instead of someone she's been with for over 2 years. Someone who's been supporting her, giving her a place to live, dealing with her friends taking over my space constantly. I just stood there for a minute and something clicked. Not in an angry way, but more like clarity. Like when you've been trying to solve a puzzle and suddenly see the whole picture. She continued, "Besides, you knew I wasn't the type to ask permission when we started dating. That's not changing now. The thing is, she's right about one thing, we're not married, but that goes both ways, doesn't it?" I didn't say anything else, just nodded and went to the bedroom. She left this morning for her trip, kissing my cheek like nothing happened, telling me she'd be back Sunday night. But here's what's been eating at me. I've been thinking about all the ways I've compromised over the past 2.5 years, and how I've always been the one to adjust. Every time her friends needed her, our plans got shelved. Every time the Sparrows wanted to hang out, I lost my evening. Every time there was a friend emergency, I was the understanding boyfriend who said, "Of course, go ahead." I've given up my home gym to make room for her vision board corner. Yes, that's a thing. I can't watch what I want on my own TV half the time because the Sparrows are always here having their wine nights or whatever. I've rearranged my schedule countless times to accommodate her social life. And in return, I get told I don't have a say because we're not married. What really gets me is that I had genuine excitement about this weekend. I've been working extra hours lately and was looking forward to just connecting with her again. Instead, I'm sitting here alone while she posts beach selfies. My neighbor, Mr. Callahan, older guy, widower, super wise, saw me sitting on my balcony this morning looking like hell. He came over and we got to talking. He didn't say much, just listened, but at the end he said, "Son, sometimes people tell you exactly where you stand with them. Believe them." Read it? I think Madison just told me exactly where I stand. The question is, what do I do with this information? Part of me wants to have a conversation when she gets back, try to work through this. But another part of me is wondering if someone who can dismiss me that easily after 2.5 years is someone I want to build a future with. Has anyone else been in a situation like this, where your partner basically tells you that your opinion doesn't matter because you don't have a ring on their finger? How did you handle it? I'm not looking to get married anytime soon. I want to be financially solid first, maybe buy a house, But I also don't want to be in a relationship where I'm treated like a roommate with benefits until someone decides I'm worthy of having opinions. Update 1. Posted 2 days later, the response was overwhelming, and a lot of you said things I needed to hear. Some harsh truths, but necessary ones. Madison is still at the beach with the sparrows. She's been posting Instagram stories non-stop, drinks, beach poses, the usual. A few stories seemed pointed, like one that said, "Finally free to be myself with her and the girls." Another one, "No asking permission needed." Cool. But here's what I've been doing instead of wallowing. Yesterday, I texted my neighbor Mr. Callahan and asked if he wanted to help me with a project. This guy is retired, bored, and honestly probably the most practical person I know. When I explained the situation, he just nodded and said, "About time, son." We spent Thursday going through my apartment and removing every trace of Madison's presence. And I mean every trace. Her skincare products that took up 80% of my bathroom counter, boxed. Her clothes that somehow migrated into every closet and drawer, boxed. The throw pillows she bought that I always hated, boxed. That vision board corner that used to be my home gym. Dismantled. Mr. Callahan was ruthless in the best way. He'd hold something up and go, "Hers." And when I'd nod into the box it went. No hesitation. The weird thing, with each box we filled I felt lighter, like I was reclaiming my space. But the real moment of clarity came when we found her little notes she'd left around the apartment. You know those sticky notes that say things like, "Don't forget to buy wine for the girls tonight." Or "Amber's staying over Tuesday," commands disguised as cute girlfriend notes. Mr. Callahan read one and just shook his head. "Son, she's been running your household like she owns it while telling you that you don't get opinions. That's what we call having your cake and eating it too." Today, Friday, I did something I haven't done in months. I went furniture shopping. Remember how I mentioned she took over my home gym for her vision board corner? Well, I ordered new gym equipment. It'll be delivered tomorrow. I also rearranged the entire living room. The couch is no longer positioned for optimal group conversations, Madison's requirement for the Sparrows' wine nights. It's now facing my TV in a way that's actually comfortable for watching sports. The kitchen table that was always cluttered with her friend's stuff. It's now clear and set up as a workspace where I can actually use my laptop. But here's the kicker, and I admit this might be petty, but Reddit seemed to appreciate petty justice. I changed my Wi-Fi name to "Not Your House, Not Your Rules" and the password to "By Madison." Mr. Callahan thought this was hilarious. He said, "Subtle as a brick through a window, but sometimes that's what people need." All of Madison's boxes are neatly stacked by the door. Her key is sitting on top of them. The apartment feels different now. It feels like mine again. I'd forgotten what that was like. I've also been thinking about what a lot of you said about how she's been treating me. The constant dismissal, the regular canceling of plans, the way her friends act like they live here, the complete disregard for my comfort in my own home. One comment really hit me. "She's been testing your boundaries for 2.5 years and you've been failing every test." That hurt to read, but it was true. She texted me a few times today, mostly just sending memes or complaining about sand. Normal girlfriend stuff. I've been cordial but brief. She has no idea what she's coming home to. Some of you asked if I'm planning to break up with her. Honestly, I'm curious to see her reaction first. Someone who truly cares about the relationship would be horrified to realize how dismissive they'd been and would want to fix things. Someone who doesn't, well, that'll tell me everything I need to know. Mr. Callahan put it perfectly. You've leveled the playing field, son. Now you'll see what kind of player she really is. She gets back tomorrow night. I'll update you all on how it goes. Edit. A lot of people are asking about the legalities of just packing her stuff. She never changed her address, still gets mail at her old place, and has no lease or rental agreement here. I checked with a buddy who's a lawyer, and since she's essentially been a guest who's never paid rent, I'm in the clear. Yes, I know changing the Wi-Fi password might seem childish to some. But honestly, after 2.5 years of being told I don't get opinions while supporting her lifestyle, a little pettiness feels appropriate. Update 2. Posted the next day. Madison came home around 8 p.m. last night, tanned and apparently in a great mood from her beach trip. She walked in chattering about how amazing the weekend was, how the sparrows had such deep conversations, and how she felt so recharged. Then she stopped talking. I was sitting on my couch, which she immediately noticed was in a completely different spot, watching a hockey game on my TV at a volume I could actually hear. I looked up and gave her a casual, "Hey, how was the trip?" Her eyes went straight to the boxes by the door. Then she looked around the apartment, taking in all the changes. The relocated furniture, the cleared spaces, the absence of her stuff everywhere. "Ryan, what is all this?" She pointed at the boxes. "Your things," I said, pausing the game. "Figured you'd want them back." "My things?" She opened one of the boxes and started pulling out her skincare products. "Why are my things in boxes? And where's my vision board corner?" "Oh, that. I set up my home gym again. Haven't been able to work out properly in months." The confusion on her face was slowly turning into something else. She walked around the apartment, seeing how different everything looked. You rearranged everything." "Yep. It's amazing how much space I have when it's just my stuff." That's when she tried to connect to the Wi-Fi and saw the network name. I watched her face as she read, "Not your house, not your rules." First confusion, then recognition, then this slow burn of disbelief mixed with anger. Her mouth actually dropped open a little bit. I had to bite my lip to keep from grinning. "Are you serious right now, Ryan? Deadly serious? What's the password?" "By Madison," all caps. The look she gave me could have melted steel. She tried the password, connected, and then just stood there staring at her phone. I watched the exact moment it sank in that I wasn't bluffing. Her face went from angry to genuinely stunned. Guess she wasn't used to me actually following through on anything. "This is ridiculous. You're acting like a child." "Am I? Because I thought I was acting like someone who's making his own decision about his own life because he isn't married." That's when it hit her. I could see the exact moment she remembered what she'd said to me before leaving. "Ryan, that's not. If this is about what I said that night, I didn't mean it like that." "How did you mean it then?" She sat down on the couch, my couch in its new position, and for the first time in our relationship, she looked genuinely rattled. I don't know, I was trying to make a point about independence." I just shrugged, mission accomplished. We sat in silence for a minute. Then she asked, "So what, you want me to move out?" "I want you to understand something, Madison," I said calmly. "You told me I don't get opinions about your life because we're not married. That works both ways. You don't get to live in my space, use my resources, have your friends treat my place like their clubhouse, and then tell me I'm just a boyfriend who doesn't matter. That's not what I meant, but it's what you said, and more importantly, it's how you've been acting." She tried a different approach. "Look, I know the girls come over a lot, but they're important to me. They're welcome to visit." I cut her off, "But this isn't their second home anymore. This is my apartment that I pay for, where I live and where I make the rules." The arguing went on for about an hour. She went through every stage: denial, anger, bargaining, more anger. She called me petty, fair, controlling, ironic, and immature, rich, coming from someone whose friends leave makeup all over my bathroom. But here's the thing, I stayed calm the entire time. Every boundary I stated was reasonable. Every rule I set was about basic respect. And every time she got heated, I just reminded her, "You're right, we're not married, so this is my house and these are my rules." Around 10 p.m., she started calling the sparrows. I could hear Amber's voice through the phone getting high-pitched and indignant. Madison kept saying things like, "He just completely changed everything. And he's being so unfair." Finally, she hung up and said, "Amber thinks you're having some kind of breakdown. Amber can think whatever she wants, in her own apartment." "What's that supposed to mean?" It means the Sparrows' wine nights are now at someone else's place. That's when she really lost it. Started yelling about how I was trying to control who she could see, how I was isolating her from her friends, the whole manipulation playbook. But I was ready for this. Madison, you can see your friends anytime you want. You can have girls' nights whenever you want. You can take spontaneous beach trips without considering your own boyfriend's feelings, just like you did this weekend. You have complete independence. You're just not doing it in my apartment anymore while disrespecting me in the process. She stormed out around 11 p.m. saying she was going to Amber's and that we'd talk about this when you're being rational. I haven't heard from her since. Mr. Callahan knocked this morning with coffee and a bag of donuts. Heard some raised voices last night. Everything okay, son? When I told him what happened, he just nodded. She'll be back. Question is whether she's coming to apologize or to fight. That'll tell you everything. Right now, I'm sitting in my reclaimed apartment, drinking coffee in my home gym. The equipment arrived this morning and I feel peaceful. For the first time in months, truly peaceful. A few people have asked if I love her. Yeah, I do, but I love myself more. And I'm finally understanding that loving someone doesn't mean accepting disrespect. Edit. Some of you are asking about the friend group dynamics. Honestly, the Sparrows never liked me much anyway. I was always just Madison's boyfriend who happened to own the place they liked to party. They'll be fine without access to my apartment. Final update. Posted 3 days later. Well, Reddit, this saga has come to its conclusion, and honestly, it went exactly how many of you predicted it would. Madison came back Tuesday evening with backup, Amber and Qley. Sloane was strategically absent, according to Amber, which I thought was hilarious phrasing for someone avoiding drama. The three of them walked into my apartment like they were staging an intervention. Madison had clearly spent the last 2 days getting coached by the Sparrows, because she came in with this whole prepared speech about relationship equity and emotional labor and partnership dynamics. But here's the thing, I'd spent those same 2 days talking to Mr. Callahan, thinking about what I actually wanted and getting comfortable with my decision. Madison's speech went something like, "Look, Ryan, I'm sorry about what I said before I left. I was stressed and I phrased it wrong. But this," she gestured around the apartment, her hand pausing where the boxes still stood, "this is completely unreasonable. You can't just erase me from your life because of one argument. We're supposed to be partners, and partners find middle ground. I never meant you don't matter, of course you matter. But you have to understand that I need my independence too." Amber jumped right in to back her friend up with, "Ryan, Madison loves you, but you can't just unilaterally change the terms of your relationship because you got your feelings hurt." That phrase, "got your feelings hurt," like I was some oversensitive child instead of a man who'd been disrespected in his own home. I let them finish their intervention, then asked one simple question. "Madison, do you believe I deserve to have opinions about what happens in the apartment I own and pay for?" She hesitated. Actually hesitated. After everything we'd been through, she couldn't give me a straight yes. "It's more complicated than that, Ryan." "No, it's really not," I said flatly. Qley tried to jump in with some nonsense about how relationships require compromise and growth, but I cut her off. "Qley, with respect, this conversation is between Madison and me, in my apartment. But we're Madison's support system, and you're welcome to support her, at your place." That's when Amber got nasty. Started saying I was controlling, manipulative, that I was showing my true colors, and that Madison deserved better than this toxic masculinity bullshit. I just looked at Madison. "Is this what you think? That setting boundaries in my own home is toxic masculinity?" More hesitation. "Then, I think you're being extreme. Extreme. For wanting to be respected by my girlfriend in the apartment I pay for." Madison tried one more approach. "Look, what if we set up some ground rules? Like the girls only come over twice a week and they help clean up and—" "Madison, stop, just stop." I think that's when she realized I was done. Not angry done or hurt done, but actually completely done. "You've been living here for 8 months, I said, treating this place like you own it while telling me I don't get opinions because we're not married." Your friends have been using my home like their personal clubhouse while you encourage it. And when I finally stood up for myself, you brought reinforcements to argue me down instead of just respecting me. That's not, she opened her mouth to argue, but I calmly raised my hand. The look on my face made her stop short. Let me finish. I've spent 2.5 years accommodating you, compromising my comfort, adjusting my life to fit your needs. And the moment I asked for basic respect, you told me I don't matter because I haven't put a ring on your finger. Well, you're right. We're not married, which means I don't have to accept this, and you don't have a say with what I do either. The room went quiet. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to take your boxes and find somewhere else to live. The sparrows are no longer welcome here, not for wine nights, not for hangouts, not at all. We're done. Amber exploded, started shouting about how I was punishing Madison for being independent and how I was clearly not ready for a real relationship. But Madison just looked defeated. You won't even try to work this out. Madison, I tried for 2.5 years. I tried when you moved your friends in permanently. I tried when you took over my space. I tried when you dismissed my feelings. I tried right up until you told me I don't matter. I'm done trying. They left with the boxes, all 3 of them. Amber made sure to slam my door. But here's the best part. Yesterday, Mr. Callahan knocked on my door with a surprise. Son, I know you've been having a rough time and I think you could use some company. He brought me a dog. A Great Dane named Bruno who belonged to his nephew who's deploying overseas and needed someone to foster him for a year. Bruno is massive, gentle, and the perfect apartment companion. He's already claimed the spot on my couch where Madison used to pile her throw pillows. This morning, I woke up in my own apartment, in my own space, with my own rules. I worked out in my home gym, made breakfast in my uncluttered kitchen, and watched Sports Center at whatever volume I wanted. For the first time in 2.5 years, I feel like myself again. Mr. Callahan came over for coffee and to meet Bruno properly. You know, he said, scratching behind Bruno's ears, sometimes the best thing you can do for someone is show them the door. Either they walk through it or they realize they don't want to. And Madison walked through it. She sure did. Question is, do you feel bad about that, honestly? No, I feel relieved. I feel free. I feel like I remembered who I am when I'm not constantly trying to keep someone else happy at my own expense. Some of you might think I was too harsh, that I should have given her another chance. But she had 2.5 years of chances. She had every opportunity to treat me with basic respect, and she chose not to. The Wi-Fi name is staying, by the way. It makes me smile every time I see it. Edit. For those asking, yes, Madison tried to text me yesterday. Something about wanting to talk like adults. I didn't respond. We already had that conversation. But the messages only got more frequent. Apparently she's having trouble finding a place and staying at Amber's is temporary at best. By message 6, she was asking if she could just grab a few more things and if we could discuss this rationally. Message 10 was about how I was being cruel and punishing her for one mistake. I blocked her after that. Thanks for all the support, Reddit. Time to close this chapter and move on. Bruno and I are going to be just fine.